How good are your interview techniques? Well, let's find out. Hi, I'm Mike from Scoutadelic, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It's free, you get all access to our amazing content and any future stuff that we're going to be doing. If you ring the bell, bing, you get notified so that you never miss an idea. And this year, you need to do something different, so why not try? Okay? But today is all about interviewing, and last year I got to speak to the amazing John, who taught me some interview techniques, and that's really good for the Communication Merit Badge, which is obviously for BSA Scouts. And part of it is learning about interview, like sort of styles and interview tips. So here is what John taught me about interviewing and communicating with another person for, I don't know, a news article or anything like that. So let's check it out.
I thought I'd have a go at some media training for you, Mike, because you particularly, have no idea how to perform in front of the camera and if people were to ask you questions. So I thought I'd give you some basics on that, which we used to do for the Scout Association, actually, when we started the young spokesperson training.
So what do we need to do, or what do I need to do, or what's some good things? Go for it.
In the world now, we as Scouters and Scouts are kind of representatives of the whole Scout Association. So at any point, an incident or something fun or whatever could happen, and the media will be there. So there might be a reporter, there might be a photographer and stuff like that. So having an idea how to present yourself and how to answer questions is really useful, whatever age you are. So one of the first things I'm going to teach you, Mike, is to engage with your interviewer.
Okay. So
let's say you've turned up to a big event like a jamboree or something, Kent Jamboree or Wings or something like that, and a reporter has come in from the BBC and he wants to get a representative
BBC
of a person attending the camp. So he's grabbed you at random, and he's going to answer. If you definitely stand out, and he wants to ask you some questions.
Okay.
So the best thing to do to start with is to engage and listen, especially if you're on camera. So take a look at your camera on your screen and really engage with it. Try not to look away, because it's difficult on here because we're looking at each other, right? But in an interview situation, you'll be looking at the person.
Right.
Okay. And you'll find that people looking away from the immediately makes you look a bit disingenuous or unsure of yourself. And that makes people think you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not being completely sincere with them. So fixing on the camera or the interviewer is a really key skill, and it's not easy to do because looking into these things is a bit daunting for most people, right? So it's something that you can practice.
Oh, right, okay. So if they're like sort of if they're interviewing you and they're off camera, then directly at camera, or would you?
Actually, that's an interesting point, because most people will try and answer the question. They'll have been told to answer the questions to the interviewer, but you always keep wanting to look at the camera. And that actually has the same effect. It makes you look disingenuous. So try and ignore the camera and just talk to the interviewer, and you'll come across a lot better. So the next point going on from that, so you've engaged with your interviewer, you're concentrating on them, you're remembering not to look at the camera, and then they're going to ask you some questions. Oh my God. One of the key things to do when you're answering questions, especially in a multimedia environment, is to try and put the question in the answer, because as you'll see on lots of TV shows and things, news reports and interviews and things, the interviewer's question is almost never used. They only use the answer. So if you can be as complete in your answer as possible and help to tell the question in the answer, then it's easier for them to put into the edit because they don't need the question, and there's more chance you'll be used. So if you're saying something positive about scouting and all you do is, well, yes, they're not going to use that, okay? Whereas if you say, my name's John Fry and I'm having an awesome time at Wings 2015 or whenever the last one was. We're having a really great time. We've been here all week and we've done so many activities and it's just amazing. Give them loads of stuff to work with, but also putting the question into the answer. The more ambitious and young reporters often tend to want to ask questions that will perhaps be a bit edgy, right? So they'll say, oh, has any incidents happened at camp? And they're trying to catch you off guard. They're trying to get you to say something negative about scouting, just for the sake of sensationalism, really. They don't really have an agenda. They just want to get something a bit meatier out of it. And that can catch you off guard, right? So my next point is be prepared for awkward questions. And the way to deal with awkward questions is to turn them around. Mm-hmm. So say they ask you that. So they say, oh, have any unfortunate incidents happened at camp? You'd say, no, it's been absolutely amazing. You should see what we've done on some of the activities. We've climbed these walls and we made a huge zip line, but it was all done really safely and everyone had an awesome time. So you've turned a negative question into a positive. And okay. that is what spin is, I suppose. But at the same time, you know, we're not here to tell a bad story, and if there isn't a bad story there, then don't give them one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's quite important. You're only spinning from their spin, okay? Yeah. If they ask you a straight question, answer it.
Yeah.
But if you feel that they've got an agenda, then you're perfectly in your right mind to entitled to spin it back with your own agenda. So, Mike, let's turn this to you now. So. Let's say you just went on another camp. No, let's tell you what. Let's talk about Scoutadelic. Now, I hear you've got this Scoutadelic channel, Mike. Is that right?
Yes, I've got a channel on YouTube called Scoutadelic, and it's been going for around about nearly 5 years now.
Brilliant. So you immediately went away from my closed question, which could have been just a yes/no answer. And you added a load of positive extra information. So that was great. It's two great things you did there. I'm now going to play the Arse reporter and say, but I hear your views have been going down recently, Mike.
I think views go up and down depending on months and trends. But at least if one person watches it and gets inspired, then that's what it's all about. It's about inspiring that one person to obviously do something different and be positive in scouting. And whether a video has 1 view or 1 million views, it's still doing something. So that's what I look for.
Brilliant, lovely positive answer. Thank you very much. So there we go, everybody. That's two really good examples of great ways of answering questions, and that's essentially all media training is teaching you to look out for those pitfalls. Mm-hmm. And if a conversation you feel is not going, if you're not enjoying the conversation, essentially, then turn it back to something that you are happy to talk about and can be really fun and enthusiastic about, because that's what people want to hear when they talk about scouting. We have done activities like this where, you know, we've got a few guys on a Zoom call and somebody is picked to be the bad question person, and someone is picked to be the kind interviewer, and someone is picked to be the idiot interviewer who knows absolutely nothing about scouting, and you have to try and explain everything to them. So that's quite a useful and fun little exercise you can do as part of your Scout or Explorer meetings. There's no age limit on this. You have just a little idea better of what to say and how to get yourself and scouting's message across more easily.
That's brilliant. And it goes well with, obviously, there's a few media badges as well, so that's great. If you like this video, then don't forget to obviously share it around and also subscribe. Go on, you know you want to. Give it a like as well, and I'll see you again soon for another one of these. Bye.